Great to see you, everybody. Thank you for coming in. Let's kick this off. Grab a pen, grab a crayon, pencil, whatever you like. Prepare to take some notes. I think this is a brilliant at the basics. When I was in the Navy, we had this chief of naval operations who really wanted people that are warfighters to be brilliant on the basics, not just kind of a jack of all trades kind of thing, just absolutely brilliant on the basics. And I was a captain of a little spy boat, and that was our big thing, brilliant on the basics. What are the basics that we need to understand? And in my day, it was the law of the sea. When can you go into someone's territorial waters? That kind of stuff. But today we're not talking about territorial waters or economic exclusion zones or anything like that. We maybe could do that on Friday Night Live coming up. So you, and I mean you, have roughly had about maybe 50,000 conversations in your life. And every single one of them was controlled by four forces, four signals that you've never seen. And notice I didn't say the word that was influenced or nudged by those four forces. It was absolutely controlled. So tonight, I'm going to give you what those things are. I'm going to show you what they are, but I need to warn you about this. I think if you see these four signals, you're going to start seeing them everywhere. They don't turn off. You're going to see them in every conversation, every sales call, every argument with your spouse, every time you watch the news or pick up your phone. So if you're comfortable not knowing what's running you or uncomfortable about this, I would say close the app. And I mean that. After tonight, you won't get it back. So the model that we're going to talk about tonight is called fate. And I'm going to talk about this in a way that you've probably never heard about this. And fate is what governs the mammalian ancestral part of our brains. And fate stands for focus, authority, tribe, and emotion in that order. And the order is not something that's arbitrary. This is the order that your ancestors needed to survive. So I'm going to ask you to go with me somewhere for just a few seconds. And it's about 200,000 years ago. It's late afternoon. One of your ancestors, a woman, is walking back toward the camp. She's carrying this giant bundle of roots and tubers and berries that she's been digging up for the last 3.5 hours, 5 hours. Her hands are cracked. She's got dirt under her fingernails. She's tired. She's thinking about the fire back at the camp or back with the tribe, about feeding her kids, about the aching that she's feeling in her lower back from spending an entire day squatting down. And she passes by the same cluster of acacia trees that she has passed 1,000 times before. And then a branch cracks. And it's not like a wind is blowing kind of a crack, it's from weight. And in that instant, everything that she was thinking about is gone, disappeared. Her children, the food, the pain in her back, gone. Her pupils dilate. Her hearing sharpens up. Every single ounce of cognitive energy inside of her brain funnels down onto a single point, and that's focus. It's not a choice. It's not like attention management. It is a survival override that shuts down every other process in the brain and it points everything at the thing that doesn't fit, the thing that's novel, the thing that she didn't predict would happen, the thing that might kill her. So she's frozen, she's scanning, and within a fraction of a second, her brain asks one question. And it's not using words, It's using chemistry to ask the question. The question is, who or what is in charge of this situation? Is this thing behind the trees bigger than me? Is it more dangerous than me? Does it move like a predator or prey? That's authority. So her brain is calculating this power hierarchy before she's even taken a single breath. And it's not because she's thinking about it consciously. It's because the ancestors who didn't calculate it fast enough are not your ancestors. They didn't make it. So now, let's say it's not a predator. Let's say it's a man from another group. Maybe it's a stranger. So her brain immediately shifts to the third signal here, which is tribe. Is this person part of my group? Do I recognize his face paint, his posture, his gait? Because out here, where she is, the stranger doesn't mean like, oh, it's a networking opportunity. A stranger is like that might be a threat. So this tribal calculation is binary. Is it in group or out of group? And it obviously it's firing off way before language has a chance, before any reasoning can take place in the brain. So there's zero conscious evaluation going on here at all. The people who didn't run that calculation fast enough got a spear through the face or the chest or an arrow through the throat. They let a dangerous outsider maybe into the camp. So either way, they didn't pass on their genes. You're not a descendant of the people who didn't do that stuff. And finally, uh, once focus, authority, and tribe have resolved, there's a chemical event. Her body floods with this little cocktail, cortisol, adrenaline, maybe some kind of relief with oxytocin. If the stranger turned out to be some tribe member that she recognizes, that's emotion. And that's the fourth element of the fate model. And that chemical event that is happening in her brain does something really critical. It writes the experience into memory. It tags that experience. It says, you have to remember this. And this really matters. It's basically saying you need to feel this again if this situation ever comes back. So that's fate. That's the fate model. It's not a communication model. And I don't think it's a persuasion technique. It's the operating system that kept your bloodline alive for 200,000 years. And it's running right now. Every room you walk into, every conversation that you have, every decision that you make, it never turned off. It was never meant to turn off. But let me show you how universal this is. And we'll take three completely different situations. I'm going to show you it's the same four signals every single time. So first, let's take a job interview. You walk into the room. It's unfamiliar. The chair is different. Lighting's different. So all these unfamiliar things. What happens? Focus fires automatically. Your brain's in pattern interrupt mode, scanning all the stuff that it can around you. Within 3 seconds, the interviewer, they have a brain too, right? Their brain has assessed your level of authority, not your resume or your behavior. How did you sit down? Whether you adjusted the chair or accepted exactly where it is, whether your breathing was shallow or composed. It's doing all of this unconsciously. And then tribe. Do you signal membership to this person? Do you sound like us? Do your references, your vocabulary, your cadence, do all those things match? And if all three fire correctly, the interviewer's brain releases a little chemical hit. And guess what they'll call that little chemical hit? They're going to call that a gut feeling, or they're a good fit for the culture. That's emotion. And that's the lock. So the interviewer didn't decide to like you. Fate decided for them. Let's take another situation. Let's take a traffic stop. So police sirens, red and blue lights automatically generate instant focus, the most violent pattern interrupt in regular civilian life. The uniform is the authority instead of the person. It's the uniform, right? The signals that this person is wearing. So you are alone and you are outnumbered. Tribe is working against you right now. And then we have emotion right here, right? Where there's a chemical cascade of something called cortisol. Your hands might shake before you say anything at all. The whole interaction was decided by all those four signals before anybody opened up their mouth. And then you had, let's say, hostage negotiation. What is the, if I'm a hostage negotiator, my first job isn't logic, right? It's capturing focus without escalating threat. And if you want to know exactly what I mean by this, watch the video I just put out on YouTube today. I beg you to watch it if you don't watch any of the other ones. The one that I put out today, you're going to want a notepad for, and you're going to want to come back to it and study it like a lecture. It is life-changing if you had a chance to watch it. So, hostage negotiator, then how do I project authority instead of dominance? Those are very different things. And then calm certainty. How do I do that? And then the tribe part of this. We are in this together. I'm not your enemy. And finally, shifting this emotional state in this person from cortisol to something that is maybe more open to decision making. Same four signals, same order. It's the same firmware. We have not had a firmware update in 200,000 years. And if you want to like prove this to yourself right now, when's the last time you had a dream about a cell phone? Throw it in the chat. So whether it's an acacia tree in this ancient times or this conference room in Manhattan, it's identical. But now I want to really show you something right here. And this is what I want you to really pay attention to. And you need to really hear this. For the last 14 minutes, maybe less, I have been running the fate model on you. And I did it deliberately, and you didn't see it. And I want you to see exactly what I did. And I'm going to dissect it for you right now. I opened the conversation up tonight with a number, 50,000. Your brain had to process that, 50,000 conversations. I told you something was controlling, having control. I didn't say influencing, controlling every conversation you've ever had, and you didn't know what it was. That's a pattern interrupt stacked on top of an open loop. And then I said, if you're comfortable not knowing, you can leave now. That's a threat to your identity, right? Your mammalian brain had no option but to kind of lock in. I didn't earn your attention. I hijacked it. And then we get into the authority part. And if you go back and watch the replay of this, I didn't ask you a single question. I didn't hedge. I hadn't said, I think, or in my opinion, or studies suggest. I made declarative statements for 11 straight minutes. I didn't ask permission to teach you. I just started doing it. And your brain filled that as authority before you evaluated a lot of stuff. And then the tribe part of this, you're watching this live on a Friday night with other people who are in the same thing you are. So you see that chat moving, you see people commenting right now, you feel all of this stuff. You're not in a library alone reading a textbook right now. You're in a tribe. And that signal has been alive since you clicked into the stream here. And then we have emotion. So I told you a story about a woman 200,000 years ago. I told you about the dirt under her fingernails, the ache in her back, a branch cracking. And for half a second, if you're honest, you were there. And I don't mean intellectually there. I mean somatically, like in your body. Your brain simulated that scene really well. And it may have even tensed up your shoulders a little bit when we talked about the branch cracking. So it's not just storytelling that I was doing. This is neurochemistry. So that's the lock that we did here. So I didn't teach you the fate model. I performed it on you in real time. And that's the point. That's the whole point here. If you studied this material for years and still didn't see it while it was happening to you, now you can see how invisible this stuff is to everybody else in your life. And there's maybe one thing here that'll keep you up tonight. Fate isn't just a model for influence. It's a diagnostic tool for control. So whoever has a monopoly on your fate model inside of your body controls you. Think about the person in your life you can't say no to. They command your focus. When they text, you stop what you're doing. You maybe probably perceive them as an authority in some way. Their opinion weighs more than other people's opinion. They're embedded in your tribe. And leaving that person means losing some kind of social structure. And they produce an emotional response. And people think I'm talking about a spouse right now. I'm talking about mostly news networks and people that you politically identify with. So it's a monopoly on all four signals. So now think about your phone for a second. Your phone. Here's mine. I've got one too. I'm probably on it more than I should be. Where does your focus go first thing in the morning? Before you get up and pee, before you drink water, before you see the face of somebody that you love? Who's the authority? For a lot of people, it's an algorithm that decides what you're going to see first. And then let's say you post early in the morning, or maybe later on. There's a tribe that you're performing for when you post. Let me turn the volume down. I don't know if you guys can hear these texts coming in. I apologize. So, who's the tribe that we need to perform for? I know you can't hear the text coming in, but this is an example of how we say things for the tribe. I'm going to apologize for something that everyone has in their normal everyday life and pretend like it's a total anomaly here for text to be dinging during a Zoom meeting or a live stream. So the algorithm decides a lot. And what emotion fires when you see a notification that somebody liked your Instagram post? Or what happens when you don't see that Instagram notification? So a cult, if you join like a dangerous cult, they have a monopoly on fate for you. So does Instagram, so does your ex, so does Fox News, so does MSNBC, and so does that one friend you have who somehow always controls the room. So the question is not like, is fate running or not? It's been running since before you were born. It's, do you know who holds yours? I see some people here are in tribe phase. I see somebody just made a comment, I've deleted all my social media, but we want to say that to the tribe to make them feel a certain way about us, right? So a lot of it is, I am still in this fate model. Being out of social media doesn't make anybody immune. Right now, somebody has control. Something does, and you didn't choose it. So here's your homework. I try to keep this to 20 minutes. And I don't want you to do what you think I'm going to say. And you think I'm going to say, go out there and look for fate in other people's conversations. That's really easy and it's really comfortable. And that's kind of watching the game from the stands, right? I want you to look for who has a monopoly on your fate, who controls your focus, who do you treat as an authority when maybe you didn't even notice you were? What tribe are you performing for? And we all perform for a tribe. And if you think you're not performing, that's probably a big piece of the performance. And then finally, what's producing the emotional hits for you? Find that, and you found one of the very many invisible leashes that a lot of us don't know that we're wearing. And we all have invisible leashes. And if you think you're immune to that, you may have more work to do than other people. You've had 50,000 conversations in your life, and you've never once really noticed this running, most likely. And now I pray that you will never stop seeing it. And that's all I've got for you this Friday. I love you. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll leave you with a little springtime peace as we kind of end the call here.